why do I have to keep coming back, right? Why do I have to keep coming back and asking for the same thing over and over again? You know? And every generation has done this over and over and over again, asked for their rights to live the rest of their lives in peace. Aren't we in a country where we're supposed to be guaranteed life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? Well, we can't get any of those second things without the first. Everything they do is directly opposed to everything they say they're supposed to be doing. And it gets so tiring to watch all of it. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do when I can't do anything without fearing for my life? So keep coming out here, please. Think of new things, innovative things, things to finally make them hear, because I'm tired of making the same fucking speech over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Amazing as always. I'm Anna. Anna is a student at Montgomery Blair. Did you just graduate?
No, I'm a junior.
Anna's a junior.
Kids are all right, folks. The kids are all right. If we can hold on.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, aren't we all right though? Because I don't know. As a youth activist, I've been an activist since I was like 16. There are so many people who just don't get it, and it sucks because it's the people who should get it and who should be protecting us. And it's, adults who aren't in the streets, like you, thank you so much for being here, who aren't in the streets, the people who are in the houses of power, they don't get it, right? Like, if you have never cowered in the corner of a classroom, hiding like over by the cubbies, but you know that you're in full view of the door, and if a shooter walked in, you would definitely be dead. If you've never been in that situation, you don't fucking get it. If you've never been crying on your parents' bed at like 1 a.m., even though you know you have an exam tomorrow, but you're having a fucking panic attack because you don't know if you're gonna have a livable future and your parents can't tell you that it's gonna be okay, you don't fucking get it. And the people in power, they don't fucking get it, or they'd be fighting for us. So I'm gonna say, show me what resistance looks like, because this is resistance. This is continuing to show up, continuing to be in the streets, even when the crowds, even when the cameras aren't here, we can still come out. Even when the crowds aren't here, we have to show up, we have to carry that burden, we have to tag team it, we have to hand that baton off, make sure that we continue to be in the streets, make sure that we support each other when we get tired, make sure that we're building that community. So I'm gonna say, show me what resistance looks like. You're gonna say, this is what resistance looks like. Show me what resistance looks like!
This is what resistance looks like!
Show me what resistance looks like!
This is what resistance looks like!
Show me what community looks like!
This is what community looks like!
Show me what community looks like!
This is what community looks like!
Show me what resistance looks like!
This is what resistance looks like!
Show me what community looks like!
This is what community looks like!
Woo! Thank you.
Let me know if I need to remove my mask. If you can hear me clearly, I prefer to wear my mask. I'm here because I'm deeply concerned about the issue of abortion, because this religious right fascist group is trying to ban abortion, claiming it violates their religious liberty and their religious freedom. But I'm Jewish. Abortion is completely allowed in Judaism. It is required at times. Now, what times depends on the rabbi, but if you ban legal, safe abortion, you are banning elements of Jewish law. And if they're going to make a religious argument, well, they're infringing upon my religious freedom, and I should have the freedom to choose if I should have abortion. They are going to do a slippery slope argument. They keep arguing when life begins. When is it going to stop? They're going to ban birth control. It's absolutely in their plan, and we need to fight back, and we absolutely need to regulate guns better. Why the hell should an 18-year-old buy an AR-15? Why the hell should people be able to have thousands of rounds of ammo? No one needs that. Thank you.
Thank you.
climate because we're Fridays for Future, and all of these issues are intersection of what we've got a climate chant we love. We're gonna say, the earth is on fire. We don't need your money, let these corporations burn. The earth is on fire!
We don't need your money, let these corporations burn!
The earth is on fire!
We don't need your money, let these corporations burn!
The earth is on fire!
We don't need your money, let these corporations burn!
One more time, the earth is on fire!
We don't need your money, let these corporations burn! Alright, one more time. These oppressive systems, I'm telling you, they gotta go. We're gonna do the same one. Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go! One more time! Ho, ho! Oppressive systems got to go!
Alright, we're gonna say the classic My Body, My Choice, but we're gonna add on another piece. We're gonna say My Future, My Voice. Because we need to be deciding our own futures. We need to decide whether we want to bring a child into this world that's gonna have a future, because like my sign says, I don't want to have kids if they're not gonna have a future. And the Supreme Court should not be forcing that upon me. So I'm gonna say My Body, My Choice. My Future, My Voice. My body,
My choice!
my future,
My voice!
my body,
My choice!
my future,
My voice!
my body,
My choice!
my future,
My voice!
my body,
My choice!
my future.
My voice!
It is completely unacceptable for the Supreme Court or any other governing body to be telling people when they can and can't have children, because we don't want to bring this into a world where they're not going to have a livable future, and that should be our choice to make, whether we decide there's enough hope for that. We shouldn't have to bring children into a world where they're just going to be shot in their classrooms. We should be able to make that choice if we think that this life is going to be safe enough for them, it has enough hope for them. We should be able to make that choice.
Thank you all for being out here in solidarity for climate justice, reproductive freedom, and supporting gun control, which as we noticed, they don't support. The Senate went on vacation 48 hours after the Oval shooting. Just a bit over a week after the Buffalo, New York shooting. Shame is right. Now, they have us blocked off from Congress. They're warding off the very people who hired them to work for us. And they have us blocked off. We are not allowed to go over there and demonstrate. We're not allowed to have our voices heard on their grounds. Share is right. We will be walking over to the Senate office buildings, a little grassy area, where we're going to have some people speak on the various issues at every intersection that we're here to talk about. We're also going to have a vigil for the Oval victims and the Buffalo, New York victims, where we will be saying their names. I hope you guys come and join us. Thank you for being here.
All right, Sadie, are you marching us over? Oh, we headed now? Yeah. I've got an extra vest if anybody needs it. Yeah.
Are you going to the Gorsuch thing? Huh? They're going to Gorsuch's house. I'm not going to go, but I have somebody going for me.
You already come with us?
Are you live? Yes.
Yeah, I think we killed one of them, and they weren't so close.
Too many. That's the answer. Too many.
You want it? No, I'm good.
I don't know if you
Is it, is it there?
You want to stop this demonstration at
Oh, it's
any
the
time.
other? It's the other one.
Oh, okay. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not.
think it's called Montgomery, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Probably not.
What? You were such a great. Oh, give me the courage to speak out. It is. I think it's still. Yeah, that was. Yeah. Help hold the banner?
This guy is now going to start. After I went into court and I said, okay.
Teach it to us.
Everybody ready? Yeah. Let's go. I'm going to say rise up and join the fight. You're going to say abortion is a human right. Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Rise up and join the fight.
Abortion is a human right.
Regulate guns, not our bodies. Regulate guns,
Not our bodies.
regulate guns,
Not our bodies.
regulate guns,
Not our bodies.
regulate guns,
Not our bodies.
regulate guns.
Not our bodies.
Our rights are not
Up for debate. Our rights are not up for debate. Our rights are not up for debate. Our rights are not up for debate.
are not
Up for debate. Our rights are not up for debate.
our lives are not
Up for debate.
our lives are not They say no choice.
We say pro-choice.
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 Let's do it for climate justice. When our rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When our lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When climate justice is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When schools are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
He was really sweet, but he was like, don't leave your bicycle here. I'm like, okay, I'll be respectful. Oh, you got it? I think I might need one.
Okay. So, it's you.
I mean, you can go by. It's just like.
Yes, we are.
Is the ground wet? Are your butts getting wet? No? Okay.
Michelle.
Yeah, you guys can line up. That would be cool. Whatever everyone wants to do.
One.
I apologize. My name is something that's been difficult.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
Of course not. Sure. Where do you want me? Okay.
Do you want to hold it up with this? I know that's going to do that. I did with my shirt.
Okay.
Thank you again, everyone, for being out here. We really appreciate you all coming in solidarity to stand up with us. We appreciate Fridays for Future for helping us organize this together. Solidarity wins. I'm going to say a few words. We'll have a few other people say words. And then at the end, we're going to read all of the names of the victims of our recent massacres that we've all been witnessing. It is a dark time for America. The Supreme Court is poised to strike down Roe versus Wade. Black folks are killed in a supermarket, killed on these streets, shot by white supremacists and police. Children are massacred in their schools by assault weapons. As of yesterday, there have been 27 school shootings this year and 214 shootings overall. Shame. And in the meantime, our lawmakers have gone on an adjourned 10-day holiday after 48 hours. In maybe 20 minutes, they passed protection for Supreme Court justices' homes. Where is that sense of urgency? Where is that sense of urgency when it comes to protecting us and when it comes to protecting our children? We are dying, our children are dying, and our planet is dying. The highest court in the land seeks to strip us of our rights our families and ancestors already fought for and won. Fundamental human rights that should be untouchable. Let us not forget that Alito's draft cites several cases for his argument that abortion rights have no precedent in law. Decisions like gay marriage, interracial marriage, the right to not undergo involuntary surgery, contraceptives, our privacy rights to decide how our children are educated. This government threatens our existence, bodily autonomy, and any hope of a future without violence. This is unacceptable, and we are far past enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
And so, we demand the Senate end the filibuster and pass life-saving gun control legislation, protection for reproductive rights, and policy that puts an end to the destruction of our planet. If we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
Thank you.
a rally cry. We've got to put some action with this. Because the government has never just laid back and given us civil rights. They're not going to just sit back and say, you know, the right thing to do would be to give us abortion rights, would be to give us Equality Act, would be to give us, that's not the government's role. The people have to demand it. Right. And these actions that we're taking today are a part of that. My name is Reverend Wendy Hamilton. I am a current congressional candidate right here in DC. So what I'm out here for today is not just because I feel like I want to lend my voice. I want to get in there. I got some things to say to some people. We need a moral renaissance on Capitol Hill. We need our leaders to remember who sent them there and who they work for. We have lost our sense of, we've lost our minds, but we've also lost our sense of humanity, of compassion. We have put profits over people. We have put personal interests over the prosperity of our souls and our lives, and it has to stop, and it has to stop now. You know, the night that they leaked the decision by Alito and them that Roe would be overturned, it was interesting because living right here in DC, you know, you're able to come down and participate in movements like this, right? So that's a benefit and a blessing of living in DC. And so I had just gotten home. It was Monday evening, and I'd been out all day. I work all day. I work in DC public schools during the day. That's my day job. And we just had to go through a couple of active shooter drills, and I don't appreciate that our children have to incorporate that into their curriculum, but that's another point. I came home that night, I looked on Twitter, I opened up social media, saw that Roe v. Wade to be overturned was trending. I put my shoes back on. I said, I'm going to the Supreme Court.
And where were the rest of our elected officials that night?
Honey,
where the hell were our elected officials?
That's what I want to know, because I was down there like, we have to give, this is a direct assault on American people. We cannot stand at home, and especially here in DC, because we're not a state. I'll talk to you about DC statehood for just one moment. I'm running for DC. I got to talk to you about how this is an extra assault potentially on Washington, DC. Because what you all don't understand is when that leak was made, there are states that are able to codify Roe themselves. Like California that night was like, oh no, we will protect women's rights here. Abortion will remain legal here. Illinois, Rhode Island, all these other states that are able to do that said we're going to block this regardless of what the Supreme Court does. DC doesn't have that buffer. We don't have a state legislature. If they overturn Roe v. Wade and then a Republican Congress comes in, God forbid, they can outright ban abortion in DC like that. And we have no recourse. We need statehood right now. Right now. You're not going to come in here and just treat DC residents any kind of way and think we're not going to stand up and fight back. You're not going to do it, because what you don't understand and what's been said out here today is they're not going to stop at Roe. This is just a trial balloon to see if we're going to let this pass. But right behind it is going to be a repeal of loving, interracial marriage. Right behind that, they're coming for equality, and you know, whatever they are trying us to see if we are going to let them get away with that, and we cannot. You understand me? We cannot. This is the time, this is the moment, this is the hour that we have to demand accountability for these persons who are trying to rip away the very fabric of who we say we are as a nation. So, keep talking, keep marching, keep fighting. I will talk. Somebody said to me, well, Reverend Wendy, what are you going to do? I don't know, but I'm going to do something. They said, well, you know, if you get into the Congress, if you don't even have a vote, baby, my voice I'll use till I get my vote. I can use my voice. I can write legislation. I can do whatever is within my power to make sure that this does not happen. And so I want to say thank you. Thank you to each and every, you know, y'all are our future. You know this. We're depending upon generations before us, and even those who are in my generation. Let's not just pass the buck. They need to be out here too. You need to be out here too.
Where are our generation?
Where are they? I need y'all to be out here too. And like I said to DC officials that night, I need all DC officials need to be down here to protect our city. But in addition to that, we need American people to take this serious. This is not a joke. This is not a test. This is the real thing. They've been teasing about Roe for years. Yep. And every time you put them on the spot, oh no, it's the established law. Everyone knows we're not going to touch that. So when I found out that the draft was done back in February, so we sneaking now. Yep. This is what we're doing. Because this is May. And it says this draft was written up in February. Yep. So that lets you know what's going on behind closed doors. And you know, there is a scripture I will say that what's done in the dark will come to light. Yep. Yeah. It will. The question becomes, when it comes to light, what are we going to do about it? Stay on them. Yep. Stay on them. And I'm telling you right now, I get in there, they're going to be tired of me. So thank you for all of your energy, all of your efforts, your voices, our voices joined together. Our efforts are not in vain. Anything that has been good, that has been accomplished in this nation has been accomplished by the will of the people. Amen. So let's keep pushing. All right, everybody? Woo! Amen.
Hi everybody, how are you guys?
Pissed off! Pissed off, indeed.
Wait, what did you say?
Pissed off!
Pissed off, yeah. Oh, by the way, I was told by the Washington Post, try not to use potty words, because that way they can put you more in the news. If you're using potty words, they can't put us in the news. And having our message be out there, I feel like is really important. There are a couple things I wanted to say. Sometimes it's hard to remember when you're holding the microphone though. But thank you guys for being so attentive and respectful and for coming out here, really. Like, snaps to you. Woohoo! I'm here because of a couple different things. I know today was the joint protest against gun violence and against the abortion bans. I wanted to bring up something that a lot of people don't know, but you can Google easily or you might see online. A lot of the people that are making legislation right now are receiving money from the NRA. The NRA, the fact that people that are making legislation about guns, obviously they're protecting guns when they're receiving millions upon millions of dollars. And I forgot to grab my phone, but I actually just posted today, you can see, you know, Mitch McConnell received like 1.3 million, Mitt Romney received money. These are 13 million. That's a lot of money. That is shameful. I find it really sad when children die. I was 15 and joined the March for Our Lives protest that she has her shirt right now. March 24th, 2018. I was 15 and I was in high school. I went to a village high school and there was only one other girl that striked with me. Shout out to you, Libby. And I see, you know, there's a little guy here today with his sister. Right there. He's so young. The fact that children have to come out here and young adults like myself, because not too long ago I was a high school student. I graduated in 2020. I'm only 19. The fact that we have to come out here is really ridiculous. And my sign that I had in 2018 said, "How much is a life worth?" They receive millions and millions of dollars and hundreds of kids are slaughtered in school. I saw a little boy who honestly looked a lot like that little boy. It kind of makes me tear up a little bit. That watched 20 other kids get murdered. That's really sickening. And the fact that Mitch McConnell receives so much money and then he's tweeting his thoughts and prayers really disgusts me. Are you guys disgusted?
Yes!
I find it really shameful, and I am proud to be an American, but I'm very, very ashamed of my government and how they are not protecting our children. Yep. I wanted to say something about abortion as well. with the draft opinion, they did say that abortion, I'm paraphrasing, sorry, but they said abortion has no place in American culture, history, or tradition. And I'm a woman, and I'm an American woman, and I just find that completely false. If you look online, you can see 1 in 4 women has an abortion. Now, that's a lot of women. 1 in 4, that's 25%. I know I love someone that has had an abortion. I know someone that had an abortion to save their life. And it's more common than people think. Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. 25% of Americans is a lot. And I am wondering whether perhaps because the court is predominantly male, that they might not see my experience as an American woman as an American experience, because I don't fit their version of an American, which is a straight, white, heterosexual man. But I'm the daughter of an immigrant. I'm 19. I'm a college dropout. I'm a couple different things, but I am American through and through. I was born in Michigan, and abortion is part of the history of my family. You know, it's part of the history of women. And the fact that they're trying to use the lack of presence of abortion in American history to stop it is ridiculous. I'm ready to give this up to someone else now. Thank you, everybody.
So I'm Michelle. I'm sorry I made a few notes, but I'm going to out myself as being an elder millennial here. So I remember my senior year of high school, and in April of 1999, that's when Columbine. This was before smartphones, so everybody around the school was just like, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" And we all had to wait till we got home, and we turned on the news and actually saw what had happened and what these boys had planned and executed. And everybody was horrified, and to realize just how high school is. It's so cliquey, it's so divided, and people get bullied and tortured for who they are. And that perpetuates this gun violence and instigates people to do this in some cases. And to realize that something like that could happen so close to home and at my own school was terrifying. And then again, 17 years later, in 2016, I experienced Sandy Hook as a mother. And I had to go the day of Sandy Hook and pick up my 3rd and 5th grader from elementary school with all the other parents. All the parents were devastated. Everybody's crying. Everybody's just waiting for their kids to come out of the school so they can just hug their kids, because we know that there's people in Sandy Hook that will never get to do that again. And it's horrible and atrocious that 17 years elapsed between Columbine and Sandy Hook and nothing was done.
Shame. Shame. Absolute shame.
And then another 6 years later, and here we are with Uvalde. It is unacceptable, and we can't stand for it any longer. Also, when I picked up my kids from the day of Sandy Hook, one of my neighbors was visiting the area from Australia. And she let me know about the Port Arthur massacre that had happened in Tasmania that prompted Australia to institute gun regulations. Common sense gun regulations. Simple things, like saying you need a gun other than to protect yourself. You need it for a farming purpose, you need it for a hunting purpose. That they also needed to also have not be a prohibited person, which is a basic thing that we need here in America. People with mental health red flags, people with violent backgrounds should not be having access to guns. And certainly not an 18-year-old that is unlicensed, untrained, and incapable of being responsible with a weapon of war. And these are common sense measures that should have been implemented 23 years ago at Columbine. And instead, we have seen a loosening of recent gun regulations, which allowed this 18-year-old to buy this semi-automatic weapon. And why? Because the NRA donates millions of dollars to these people working in these halls. And they donate that money to make them forget that they work for us. That we put them, not the money that the NRA gave them, Our votes, our voices are who put them in that office. And we are going to be here to remind them of that. That they don't work for the NRA, they work for us. And I'm also here on behalf of the reproduction movement. And I just want to say that I'm taking back the title of pro-life today. Amen. Because they are not pro-life. Amen. They are not for women. They don't care about children. They don't care about the most vulnerable amongst our society. They're not pro-life. They're pro-birth, and they're anti-choice. And just as the First Amendment protects our bodies from the religious beliefs of others, the Second Amendment should not be allowed to perpetuate the slaughter of innocents. Our children, our brothers and sisters of color, and every single citizen of this nation deserves to be protected in their own life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Ella. This is my first time doing something like this. So I consider myself a climate activist. I'm usually in the back doing all the finance and grant work, so this is my first time actually holding a mic, but the reason, the person who has pushed me to speak is my 12-year-old brother, Ali, right here. He is the light of my life, and I'm gonna try not to cry because this is very emotional, but my parents both came here from Turkey to give us a better life. The fact that I'm here right now having to speak on gun control is disgusting. It's completely disgusting. I went through the Virginia public school system. My brother's currently in middle school. And as I said, he's the light of my life. Whenever I look into his eyes, I see light. And that light, I see him in the 19 kids that were killed this past week. The light that will never, unfortunately, they never have the chance to shine again. That's why we're here right now. And it's just so unfortunate seeing if they want to protect a life, they need to protect the lives of the kids that are in school, not the clump of cells that are in our uterus. If they're going to protect a life, they need to protect our students. My brother, who is scared now, he texted me a month ago that there was police activity near his class. He cried for a whole week. He should be learning. What is this? Like, I don't even know where I am anymore. Like, I am studying for a future that I don't even know if I'm gonna have, if my brother's gonna have it. This is disgusting, and we shouldn't be here. If the people behind us were doing their jobs, we wouldn't have to be here right now. This isn't, like, I take pride in what I'm doing. I take pride in what we're all doing, but we shouldn't be here. This is disgusting, and we can't let this die with the 19 kids, the thousands of kids that have died to gun violence. We will not let this die with them. And I am just really honored to be here right now, and thank you all for taking the time today. I just want to show my brother, who's a very shy kid, that it's possible to hold a mic and speak for rights. Thank you.
Good job. Would anyone else like to say a few words before we start the vigil?
Well, I already talked before, but I had some other thoughts that I thought about were really prompted by some of the last speakers. So I'm in high school right now. I'm in the Montgomery County Public School System in Maryland. I'm a junior. And I am not exactly sure how many violence-related lockdowns I've had throughout my public school experience, maybe 5 or 6, something like that. There was one earlier this year where no one knew what was happening. We heard an announcement saying that we were all going into lockdown, and so we got under the table on the side of our classroom wall. Everyone was under there, and everyone was quiet. But no one knew what was happening. All we knew is that there was something violent going on, and we got on our phones and we tried to see what was happening. Everyone was texting each other. Everyone was posting on their Instagram stories saying what they heard. And all we knew was that something had happened in the parking lot. And it wasn't a shooting, it was a stabbing. Still not good. But for me, when I heard that it was a stabbing, when I heard that there was not a gun involved, I was so relieved. And I immediately, after I started feeling relieved, I started feeling so sad, because why should I be relieved that classmate just got stabbed by another classmate because he didn't get shot? Like, why is that the minimum? Why is that what makes me feel a little bit better? And literally yesterday we had a tornado warning. And my friend texted her mom, she said, there's a tornado warning, we're on lockdown, we're all crowded into the hallways, and her mom said, at least it's not a shooter, right? I remember when I was in elementary school, there was gun violence happening near our school, and we all had to lock down. My friend goes to the Edmund Burke School, and there was a shooting there maybe 2 weeks ago, and she was terrified, and she didn't go back to school for 2 weeks. She was right near where a shooting occurred, and I don't think people who aren't in school right now understand how pervasive this is. That even when it's not you, you feel it. You feel it all around you. And not just in schools. I have 2 close friends that through being just, while they were children, their fathers were killed by gun violence. In this city, in DC, it's everywhere in my life, you know? The more I think about it, the more I see it. And it's not getting better right now. And you know, there's been a lot of rhetoric from conservative politicians saying that it's not about guns, it's about mental health. And to that I say, it can be about mental health, it can be about welfare, it can be about a million other things, but you're not fixing that either. You're not fixing that either. If you think it's about mental health, fix it. Like, you can't just sit there and say that guns aren't the problem just to save them. But that's exactly what's happening. Why are you clinging to them? Why are you clinging to what is killing my friends and my friends' fathers and everyone around me?
Right, right.
And so I guess I just wanted to come up here and say how I was feeling as someone who, you know, who has had to have these conversations in my classrooms a million times of what do we do when there's a shooter, and how do we feel, you know, going into school the next morning after hearing that there was a shooter in another school, and after hearing that there was a shooter in another school while we're in school, and everything just stops for a little bit when everyone hears at the same time, because that could have been us. That really could have been us. Thank you.
We love you, Anna. Anna's an amazing activist. But yeah, I just want to say a few more things as someone else who is recently in the MCPS school system, although I graduated last year, and because of the pandemic, I wasn't in school for like a year and a half before that. But I feel like Anna was saying, like, if you're not in school, you just don't get it. Like, I want to explain to adults how much it's in our everyday lives in the classroom. Like, there's a sign in every single classroom that explains what to do if there's a code blue and a code red, and it goes like, code blue is what happens if there's something going on outside. Code red is what happens if there's something going on inside the building. Here's how to lock down. There's these little things on our doors that prevent the door from being locked unless there's a shooter, and then we can like slide it out of the way and it'll lock really quickly and you won't have to leave the classroom to like turn the key. Every time when I would go to the bathroom in school, I would have like a little bit of anxiety because what if something happens while I'm in the bathroom and I'm like trapped outside of the classroom? There's these things over the windows in our classroom so that we can put it down really quickly in case there's a shooter, and then we can like be really quiet. And it's insane because we have all these methods, and yet so many times we feel like it's still not enough, and we still feel like we're in so much danger. And now, as someone who I left the school system, I thought it'd be over, but my dad's a principal, so I'm also now constantly thinking about the school system, constantly thinking about, you know, how his students are impacted by COVID, by all of these things, constantly hearing stories of how they are dealing with so much trauma. And he teaches a school that goes up to 2nd grade. These little kids are dealing with so much trauma that comes out in so many ways in their school lives that they can't even learn anymore. They have to be like taken out of class, and they have to deal with all of this trauma from the pandemic, from this stuff like this. Yeah, and I know parents feel it in a very unique way, things like this, but I think that people really need to understand what it's like to be in a school right now. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jess, and I just wanted to speak. I came out here for, you know, the reproductive rights. I'm actually from Colorado. I left my 10-year-old out there with my ex because it was so important, you know, to ensure her future. And while out here, this massacre happens of 4th graders. My kid is a 4th grader who just finished school up this past Wednesday. So, I'm out here fighting for her to have a future. While doing that, it becomes, is she even going to have one due to the violence? So, this is a country of, by, and for the people, and I think it's time that we raise our voices and demand that they represent us. Instead of corporations, we are the majority, we have the power, and together we can change the world, so.
Thank you guys for speaking and telling us your stories and putting your voice out there for everybody to hear and your opinions and standing up for people, standing up for children and standing up for yourselves. Give yourselves a hand for doing that. I'm going to go ahead and read the names of the victims of the Oldfeld shooting. We'll start with that, and let's call it a massacre. Let's call it what it is. I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything, is in no disrespect to these people. Nevaeh Alyssa Bravo, age 10. Jackie Cazares, age 9. McKenna Lee Elrod, age 10. Jose Flores, age 10. Eliana Garcia, 9. Irma Garcia, 48, a teacher. Uzziah Garcia, 10. Amory Jo Garza, 10. Her family wanted us to let you know that she is loved so much and she still has so much life ahead of her. Xavier Lopez, 10. Jace Carmelo Luvianos, 10. Tess Marie Mata, 10. Miranda Gail Mathis, 11. Eva Morales, 44. Alithia Haven Ramirez, 10. Annabelle Rodriguez, 10. Mate Juliana Rodriguez, 10. Alexandria Anaya Rubio, 10. Layla Salazar, 10. Daila Silguero, 10. Ellie Torres, 10. Rogelio Torres, 10. As well as their names, a high school student who reached out to Fridays for Future wanted us to let you know thoughts and prayers are not enough. They want actual action from Governor Abbott so more communities don't have to suffer like they did. What Greg Abbott did at their auditorium, he says, is a disgrace. Things need to change, and they won't change under Abbott. I can't believe we have to read the names of victims from 2 shootings today. 2 shootings. These are the victims of the Buffalo Massacre. Roberta Drury, age 32. Margus Morrison, 52. Andre McNeil, 53. Aaron Salter, 55. Geraldine Talley, 62. Celestine Cheney, 65. Hayward Patterson, 67. Catherine Massey, 72. Pearl Young, 72. And Ruth Whitfield, 86. May they go in love. We know they didn't get the chance to say goodbye. We say goodbye to them and let them know that they're here with us today. Thank you all.
Hello, y'all. We also want to keep in mind that to everything that there's consequences for every action. So Irma Garcia's husband, Joe Garcia, also passed away of a heart attack. And we're sure that's because his wife was killed. So we want to also lift up that family especially. At this time, what we're going to ask you to do is just stand and lock arms with your neighbor beside you. We want to sing We Shall Overcome. Reverend Wendy and Sandy, if you guys can come in the middle. And everyone else, if you can lock up Nikki.
Can I just say something real quick, Joe?
Yes.
I want to flip the script on freedom and the idea of freedom. everybody's talking about the freedom to bear arms. Fuck that so hard. What about our freedom to go to the grocery store? What about our freedom to send our kids to school? What about women's freedoms to dictate their own future? Just what the fuck? And I really, really, really don't understand where our elected leaders are. The Democratic Party, the ones who say that they're anti-gun, the ones who say that they're pro-choice, the ones that say they stand with us, nobody's here. Reverend Wendy, as a candidate, is the only person that I've seen at any of these events. And this isn't our grandfather's GOP. This isn't our grandfather's opposition party. These people want our destruction, and they revel in our deaths. They revel. When you tell them that a trans kid will die, they revel. When you tell them that pregnant women will die, they will say whore and revel. This is not freedom. I just can't anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be a wrap on this live stream. Again, they started at the Supreme Court and marched over here. This is kind of outside the Senate office buildings, where they had a rally mostly focused on gun control, which they favor, but they described how that intersects, in their opinion, with abortion rights and environmental activism, which is what the group mostly focuses on, Fridays for the Future. So with that, like, share, subscribe. I'll have HD footage out later today. I also have a contributor who was there in Houston, Texas, as there were protesters outside the NRA today. So look out for more